All right, excellent. Hello, Miss Vidit. Good evening and good evening, everyone. So for today, we were assigned for this Vivencial project to record a video about how we develop a real class during we are performing in our workplace. However, for me, it was very difficult trying to do that because as I work in a private school, they have certain rules that we need to respect. And also, even though I tried to do just an audio, it was for me not too clear to show which kind of tools I'm using when I am developing the class. That's the reason why I decided to translate the the class in situ into an online class that I can give to students from the fifth grade of elementary school. In this case, in my case, it's going to be for Vancouver Private School here in Arequipa City. Okay, so this is going to be an example of an online lesson. And for this, before starting, I would like to set up some ideas about how this class is going to be, because we need to put into practice everything that we have learned during these past 3 months. Well, this is the fourth month. And we need to mention some of the main ideas that we can take from all the information that we were given by our teacher. So in this situation, we need to take into account that we are working with certain kind of objectives that we need to reach along the develop of this lesson. And also we need to take into account the objectives that we are gonna get during the development of this lesson as well. For example, when it comes to the learning objectives, we need to have clear that we are talking about the content of how I am going to focus this class for the students of the fifth grade. And also we need to take in the context of this class, take into account that it's going to be the vocabulary of technology because this is what we are working for this seventh unit. Actually, the main title or the main topic for this unit is called Connect. Let's Connect. I have already started working on some vocabulary related to technology, and now we are working specifically on some not vocabulary but uses of technology. For example, how we use technology in our daily life. We're talking about technological devices, so on. I will show you what is the material, exactly the real material that I work with my students. And that's how we are gonna get the whole development of the class. Also, we need to mention that the objective is gonna be for me as the grammar part, that we're gonna recognize the passive voice in simple past. And also we're gonna do a little bit of review of what is simple past of the verb to be, and also which are the main verbs in past participle that the students in this case are using, because they are not using a whole list, but a short list with the main verbs that they have mainly in their book, which is the material that I'm using for showing you how the class is gonna be um, taken, right? For the objectives, well, it's very important to mention that we need to do a sequence of different steps, and we need to show what is the whole process. And also the students need to use their reasoning in order to explain the cause and effect on each one of those steps. For the objectives, as I mentioned, it's going to be very important to work on the technology part. So all these technological terms or vocabulary that they have learned in advance may be put into practice when they are developing their new grammar topic. That's going to be the use of the passive voice in simple past. Okay. For the classroom arrangement, what is going to be the situation for my class when, in my case, unfortunately, I cannot do major changes because this is a small space. And even though I would like to work in small groups, I think that would be ideal for them. I need to adjust to my real space. So this is gonna be in rows. Okay, we're gonna work in rows, one behind the other. Before they used to work in pairs, however, it's not gonna be this case because if they work in pairs, it's not gonna be possible for me to call their whole attention as they like to talk a lot. So that's the reason why we decided to work in rows, and also each one is gonna be independent, and we're gonna motivate their participation as well. But my ideal case would be to work in groups. If I could, I will put them in small groups, maybe groups of 4 or 5 students as they are 23. So we need to take into account how many students are participating at the end of the day. As you know, we are in a real situation and they don't, but they are not present. All of them are not present. Okay. The resources that I'm gonna use, I already mentioned, we're gonna be working with a book. And as a guidance for this lesson, this is the teacher's book that I use. Behind is the method that I use. Oh, okay. I don't know if you can see this one. Yes. Behind is the method that I use. And well, this is for the 5th grade. Well, it doesn't show too clear, but this is the method that I use. And also inspired on this method, I developed the whole lesson. All right, so we're going to start the class as this is going to be a real class. And I will start showing you what is the material that I'm going to be working with. So let me share my screen, please. All right, excellent. Okay, wonderful. As you may see here, this is going to be the whole lesson that we are going to be working with. In this case, this is lesson number 3, words and grammar. Okay, so, okay, guys. Hello, how are you doing? I hope you guys are doing great. So before starting, I would like to make a little introduction of the topic that we are gonna be working with you guys today. So let's start with this little reading as a warm-up, and I would like you to tell me what is this about, which kind of words you guys recognize, and let's see if we can relate all these new words of all these words that you already know into the class that we are going to be working with today. Okay, so let's start by listening the um, the reading. We're going to be listening the reading. Just follow the reading as we are listening it, and then we are going to start analyzing a little bit this text. All right, excellent. So it says, listen and read. How are phones different today? Let's start. All right, guys. So from the listening that we have been following with our text, with our small reading, I would like to share with you some ideas. I would like you to tell me which words you guys recognize from this text. I know that you have been working with some of them before in the past, and this is not new for you because you have seen with your previous teacher what the verbs are in past, right? So I would like you to mention some of them and let's analyze this reading. So let's start. It says, how has technology changed, right? You know, guys, that technology is not the same today from before. So we need to take into account that everything has changed. Let's analyze the picture. What is this? This is a phone, and it's not like the phone that you guys use today. It's very, very different. It's an old phone, right? I don't know if you have seen this at home. Maybe you don't have this as a souvenir at all, or maybe you don't remember how this works. For sure, your parents do. Actually, it's one that I used to have when I was a child. So I would like to mention in advance that it was a little bit tricky to work with this phone. If you forget to dial one number, forget about it. It was all done, right? So this is the old technology that we used to work with before. How has everything changed? It says, my name is Mrs. Jones and I'm an IT teacher at school. When I started, all right, so let's start recognizing the verbs that you already know. It says, what is the verb? Start, right? So it's gonna be when I started. When I started my job in 1995, the school didn't have. Yes. So we're going to recognize one. This is the negative form of the simple past. You guys already know this, right? Didn't have. What didn't have? We're going to use another color to highlight these two words. It says, well, we're going to be underlining them. Tablets or laptops. Okay, so here we have our first two words related to technology, but it's not technology from the past. It's already technology that we can see nowadays. Tablets or laptops. There were two big computers. Wow, computers. This is not like a recently item, but in the past, when we started working with this kind of devices or computers, they look different as well as the phones, right? We know phones, they existed from years before, but they don't look the same as today. The same thing with computers. Computers were way different. They looked way different in the past than they do in the present. But they were used for only 1 hour a week by the students. The internet was invented. Okay, before that, we need to underline they were used. They were used. This is past, no? Where past of the verb to be and used is maybe past. Let's see which past of the verb use. For only 1 hour a week by the students. The internet was what? The internet was invented. Was once again the past of the verb to be, and invented is the past of the verb invent. In 1983, but it wasn't once again past of verb to be. However, it is in negative, right, guys? Excellent. Used in our school until 2005. I got a phone at home. I had is the parts of the verb have, right? But you couldn't put it in your bag and use it outside your house. Couldn't is the past of the verb can't, right? Can't, I can, I can't. In the present, in the past, we use I could or I couldn't. Put it in your bag and use it outside your house. You couldn't, once again, I already mentioned this one, take a selfie, use social media, or download any apps with that phone either. Okay, excellent, guys. So now we have seen some words that you already recognize that you know, and maybe they are used in a different way, especially those that are together. I underline some of them that they are together. For example, the past of the verb to be with another verb in past. Oh my God, what is this about? What do I have two verbs? This is what we are going to see today. Okay, so can you relate that? This is past, present, or future? First of all, yes, this is the past. You guys are correct. You are right. Okay, so this is the past. This is the past of what? This is the past of the verb to be. And this goes along with another verb in past, but this is not simple past. Those verbs are in past participle. We are going to try to recognize those verbs and let's see how it works. Okay? Before that, I would like to provide you some new vocabulary that you may recognize as well because we have all of them in our daily lives. And I bet that you use them as well, right? So let's start by listening and repeating the words after me. We can have the best pronunciation for those words. And then we are going to continue using those words in our future exercises. Muy bien, chicos. Entonces vamos a empezar repitiendo estas palabritas, ¿ok? So let's start. Give me 1 second. Okay. Well, we're gonna do it with me as we have a little bit of problems with the audio. We're gonna do it with me, okay? So let's start. Number 1 says website. Repeat after me. Website. Number 2 says password. Repeat after me. Password. Number 3 says app. Repeat after me. App. Number 4 says online. Repeat after me. Online. Number 5 says social media. Repeat after me. Social media. Number 6 says selfie. This is a very common one, right? Selfie. Repeat after me. Selfie. Number 7 says headphones. Yes, repeat after me. Headphones. And the last one is going to be emoji. Repeat after me. Emoji. Okay, guys? So let's go once again and repeat all the words after me. Excellent. Fantastic. Okay. Excellent. You guys did a wonderful, wonderful job. So you already know these words. Ustedes ya conocen, chicos, estas palabras. Vamos a empezar relacionándolos un poquito al español, okay? But as you know, we always try to speak English, English, English. Yes? Excellent. The first one is website. ¿A qué lo relacionamos? Sitio web. Wonderful. Yes. Password. You know this one is very common. Password, contraseña. Number 3, app is gonna be aplicativo. Number 4, online, online. Number 5, social media, redes sociales. You know which kind of social media we use. I do use a lot Facebook or Instagram. I think I do more TikTok than Instagram. Maybe you do the same. Okay, so we have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, and other kind of um, social media. Then we have selfie. You know selfie, es una foto que uno se toma uno mismo, selfie. Headphones, the ones that we use for listening to music, the big ones, right? Headphones. Auriculares, right? Excellent. Muy bien. O audífonos, perdón, audífonos. Well, los auriculares serían los pequeños, entonces lo conocemos muy bien, los audífonos. En number 8, emoji, emoticón, ¿no? O emoji. También solemos usar bastante esta terminación de emoji en nuestro día a día más que emoticón. Ok, muy bien, entonces. Consecuentemente, Miss, procedemos a resolver los ejercicios que tenemos en el libro para reforzar un poquito este nuevo vocabulario que los chicos no conocen. Y como ya hemos ido introduciendo, haciendo un warm-up del tema, que está justamente en el reading en la parte de arriba, voy a pasar a la siguiente página. Excelente. Muy bien, Miss. Acá tenemos entonces la explicación del past simple passive statements. Pero para esto, como usted puede ver, no hay una... Sorry. I was just speaking, yeah, I was confused. I was speaking Spanish. Okay, I was telling you, Miss, that for this next explanation, for the past simple passive statements, as you can see here in the book, this is not, for me, well explained. No, we need to go a little bit deeper in the explanation because the students in my significant situation, they are not too much into the passive voice. Actually, they barely remember what is the simple past of the verb to be. And of course, they have a lot of trouble trying to recognize what is the past participle of verbs, regular and irregular verbs. That's the reason why I will show you a picture. Along with this, I will share you a photo of what I did on the board. I put some information that I told my students that they have to copy on their notebooks. So they did that. And I have a picture of that information from one of my students' books, how I did the lesson. I will share that picture with you. I will show you that picture. And then, well, after I explain all of that, I continue doing the practice, which is that I consider is the most important. Yes, even though we need to do a lot of interaction with the kids. Um, in my significant situation, I really need to work in grammar. They are very, they have some deficiencies when it comes to grammar. So I need to put a lot of practice, a lot of effort in this part. Okay, so as I told you, I will show you the real photo of what I did on the board. And then we continue. We went back to the book. And then we're going to finish only explaining this part, and that's it. Okay, so for this one, we did the matching. They know already, they recognize already. Also, when I was explaining, I told them what was the past participle of the main verbs that they are using in their book, because from this material, I will design the exam for them, the process exam. Okay, so let's start with a match in this match part. Well, we solved that. And I tell them, okay, guys, we're going to be matching in this part. What happened last month at North Park School? So let's see what we can do here. It says a tree was what? We need to analyze the second part, right? So we can see which one goes along with which one. Number one says a tree was. A tree was what? Cooked in the canteen? No, right? Taken by the head teacher, planted in a school garden, or looked at by many people. Okay, I will give you guys 2 minutes to make this exercise. Actually, it's too much. I think 1 minute is more than enough to make this exercise, and then we are going to check the exercise together, okay? So it says a tree was, after they develop everything. A tree was what? A tree was planted in the school garden. Yes, a tree was planted in the school garden. Okay, one more time. We're gonna do it. Wonderful. 500 burgers were, and they will respond. Were what? Cooked in the canteen. Excellent. Number three, the school website wasn't what? Looked at by many people. And finally, the selfies weren't what? Taken by the head teacher. Excellent. We did a wonderful job. Then we're going to write the past simple of these sentences, but you need to take into account what? If it's affirmative or negative. I already show you, right? You have this information in your book. So guys, let's start working on this. If you see a not, it's going to be negative. If you don't see this not word, we're going to be using these sentences in positive form. So whatever you see not, negative, and where you don't see this word not is going to be positive. So negative, I'm helping you out with this visual help. It's going to be, well, that's better, is negative, okay? Okay. And as I said, okay, I got it, negative. Okay, yes, excellent. So it's going to be way easier for you to answer these questions, okay? Excellent. All right, wonderful. So this is a little bit how I work with my students, Miss Virit. It's at the end, we develop the class, we check and everything, okay? While I'm doing the explanation, when it comes to the picture that actually I would like to show you, when we do work in this explanation, I try to interact a lot with them. I try to mention them that how important it is to work with the material that we have in our books, and also how important it is to add some extra information for them to have a better understanding, for them to have extensive visual help of what we are working with. Okay, so I'm gonna show you now what is the okay, just give me 1 second, please. Okay. So as you can see here, Miss, this is the actual work that I did during class. So this is how I explain the passive voice, simple past. First, I mentioned what is the use of the passive voice. we talk about it a little bit. We share some ideas with the students. Then the affirmative, the negative form, because this is what I was requested to do, not interrogative, but affirmative and negative. And then I show them what was the structure of the sentence. So they can see how it goes, how it comes, where it comes from. And then I mention at the end, as I make like a little, how can I say? Sorry, like a little remember part where they can bring the ideas that they already know. What is the verb in past, the verbs in past participle? First of all, the verb to be in past, they need to recognize the was and were, and positive and negative form was and the negative wasn't, and were and the negative weren't for the singular and the plural form. He, she, it, I, or you, we, they. And finally, the verbs in past participle that we are going to be using for this lesson. As I mentioned before, not all the verbs are going to be included, only some important verbs that they have in their book, because from the book, we are going to be guiding our process exam. We have the verbs in past participle as make, bear, write, invent, delete, use, and upload. And all the verbs are related to technology. Made, born, written, invented, deleted, used, and uploaded. I try to make some effort as well in the pronunciation for them. It's going to be easier for the regular verbs and a little bit difficult for the irregular verbs because they know that they have to learn them by heart. It's not going to be as easy as just adding at the end of the word ed or d, depending on the verb that we are using, right? Excellent. So this is, as I mentioned, the example of how I actually worked during class and how they see the whole explanation. And after that, we reinforce this thing with our book. Also, I like to work with some like extra practice that I get from the workbook because they don't have workbook. And I present that paper to my students almost at the end of the week so they can practice everything that they have learned during Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? I can do this practice either Thursday or Friday. So they practice with me a little bit, and at the end, they present it to me. Okay, Miss. And then when it comes, well, to the how I manage the class, visual contact is very important for me. I try to give them orders as we were working with you in advance, visual orders, raising the hand, making signals with them, trying to call their attention in order to make it clear for them. If I said silence, or just when doing like this, they know already that they have to be in silence, right? I'm clear. If I have to call them, I use, of course, their names. I call them by the name. That's gonna make a personal, the relation is gonna be closer with my students when I call them by the name, and also they feel free to let me know if they have any questions in advance. In general, it's very easy for me to manage the class, even though they are sitting in rows, like one behind the other one. The fact that they are not together, they are working individually, makes it way easier for me. Okay, so I hope this was like you may have an idea about how my class is. I wished I could do it like in situ at the moment, but well, unfortunately I couldn't. But I did my best to show you how everything works. So once again, thank you very much. I really, really, really appreciate everything that you are teaching us because this helps us to be, well, to give our best to our students and to be the best version of us that we could be. So once again, thank you very much. And I hope everything was fantastic. Thank you.